Oh my gosh! Okay,
Yep.
okay.
We got
Where
a
is
passing bomb moments ago. Breaking.
Oh God!
Breaking.
Are we
The
happy?
San Diego Padres
Oh God!
are acquiring closer Mason Miller and starter J.P. Sears from the A's. Sources tell ESPN.
Oh my!
No word
God.
yet on who
What is the return?
Is being sent to the A's in exchange for one of the most dominant relief pitchers in the game, with 4 years of control.
Oh my God!
J.P. Sears. You're going to have to look up a little bit on the stats of J.P. Sears. Certainly,
he's a lefty.
Certainly would make you think that it's more likely now than ever that Dylan Cease is going to be traded here if they are adding a starting pitcher. He is a left-handed pitcher, 7-9, 4.95 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, which is not that bad. Yeah, so we've got our first big trade, but we will not know yet what the Padres are giving up. Did they have to dip into Leodalis De Vries to do it? Wait and find out. Here we go. It is.
Here we go.
It has started.
Oh man, Mason Miller, welcome to San Diego.
Let's go.
All right, at least for the moment, we have a fifth horseman in the Padres bullpen.
Yes,
the four
for the
horsemen are
moment.
now a fivesome, which is, I mean, you know, and Robert Suarez could still be traded here in the next few hours. But the Padres, you know, saw what the Dodgers did last year, using their bullpen essentially to pitch their way to a
no.
What?
We gave up De Vries.
They gave up De Vries.
What?
Yep, they are. Leodalis De Vries, according to Jeff Passan, the number 3 prospect in all of baseball, along with 3 pitchers as well in exchange. So Padres are going all in here at the trade deadline.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! All right, let's. Ben, do you have your copium bong? Because I need to.
You
load
need a little
it up.
hit, yeah.
I need a little hit off of your loose loose copium.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, here's your copium is prospects or just prospects until they prove otherwise. But you know, he was a very highly thought of prospect from the San Diego Padres perspective. I don't know who the other 3 pitchers are that are going as well. So just Leo wasn't enough to get that done.
Good Lord.
I would suspect that the Padres will very strongly look into converting Mason Miller back into a starting pitcher during the offseason, which would make him and possibly an excellent replacement for Dylan Cease and or Michael King. With Joe Musgrove coming back, the shaping of a rotation that includes Pivetta, Musgrove, Miller, Darvish going forward. But again, we don't know who the other pitchers are yet in the deal as well. But major Jeff Passan news. He's the only one who had it here very quickly here. But Mason Miller, no doubt that he's a phenomenal arm.
That is a bomb. Our buddy Chris Chadwick 50 minutes ago tweeted this: seeing the returns for relief pitching this deadline, what Preller should do, make someone overpay for Suarez. What Preller will do, overpay for Mason Miller. Again, we don't know that it's an overpay yet, but holy cow, you got the number 3 prospect in baseball. You're pretty stoked if you are the Oakland A's, or I'm sorry, the A's. They're not allowed to call them Oakland anymore. If you're the A's this morning, you're pretty excited you got the number 3 prospect in baseball for Mason Miller, who, again, he had plenty of years of control, probably looked at it as an unnecessary luxury to have an elite closer. And I don't know that the plans to move, put him as a starter was in their plans. It might have been, but this is one of those, man. This is one of those where we're going to have to hear about it for the rest of our lives if he comes out and is the next, James Wood. And that was for Juan Soto. This is for Mason Miller. AJ Preller. Holy cow. I mean, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts.
All right.
Wow.
Now, what happens from this point until 3:00 is still incredibly important. Buster Olney says sources, Robert Suarez and Dylan Cease likely to be on the move now that the Padres have landed Mason Miller and J.P. Sears. I think that makes a lot of sense that you were going to trade that. That obviously means the Padres could, if they do that, they will have more financial flexibility. They're not adding any money here with Mason Miller and J.P. Sears. Those guys are not expensive. So if they traded Cease and Suarez, they might have a few more dollars to play with. And they have not, of course, addressed their biggest concern, which has always been the offense and adding another bat or two to the lineup. They have not helped themselves at all. They have simply bolstered a bullpen that is already the best bullpen in all of baseball, which is, adding to a strength is a legitimate strategy. Usually is not done by giving up your absolute best prospect that you've probably had in your system in many, many years. But once again, AJ Preller is going to go for it and try to deliver a World Series title for the San Diego Padres. And he thinks Mason Miller is the best way to do that. I'm sure we'll hear from AJ later today after the trade deadline. But yeah, this is going to go down as one of the absolute biggest deals of the deadline again. And surprise, surprise, AJ Preller is involved in it once again here in 2025.
Well, I'm already seeing Dodger fans tap dancing and doing victory laps, which leads me to believe that this is a good trade for the San Diego Padres. Listen, Mason Miller is a demon, straight up, like straight up. Leodalis De Vries right now is an A-ball player. That's how I'm going to smoke the copium today.
Yes.
Because again, guys, go back and look at the number 3 prospects in baseball for the last 10 years and we'll do a little exercise and see how many of those guys are impact players. I'm sure there are a few. There's no question. He's a really, really good player and a really, really good prospect. But holy crap, dude. Like at this point, you got to turn the page and look at it and say, all right, well, Mason Miller, JP Sears, do they help us win in the immediate future? Yes. The answer is yes, they do. But I don't think they can be done yet. This is obviously not the move. They have not addressed their most glaring weaknesses, and that's on the offensive side of the ball. The last 5 games or whatever, notwithstanding Benjamin. But I don't think this is the first deal or the last deal we see from AJ Preller today. And let's look at it as the total package. But this is certainly one that. Certainly one that blows your hair back. There is no question about it.
I would be disingenuous to say that I absolutely love it. I definitely have some reservations here. If you were going to give up Leo De Vries, could you not have gotten a Tyler Soderstrom or a Langoliers? I mean, JP Sears is not anyone, in my mind that, seems like a giant difference maker. He's a back of the rotation kind of guy who's, going to eat some innings once you do trade Dylan Cease, which seems like it's almost a foregone conclusion at this point. Wow. Are the Padres better if at this moment, assuming they trade Cease and Suarez, are they better than they were yesterday?
I don't know.
I don't know that they are, but they've given up their top prospect, and I don't know how much better that they have gotten since yesterday. With moves still to be made, obviously.
Well, again, Nick says Sears is as mid as it gets. Look where he pitches. Right, look who he pitches for. Is there something in him that Saris will know more about JP Sears and maybe the underlying things that we need to look for. He is a left-hander, that's sexy to me, no question. But wow, man, I really don't know what to say. I mean, I am really, really surprised. This is a classic all-in. This is a classic all-in.
Little reaction here from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Leo De Vries, who's one of the highest-rated prospects traded at the deadline in a while. Mason Miller rules, but he's a reliever. Love this for Sacktown, Yolo County, Vegas, who just got a potential star. So initial reaction leaning toward the Athletics in terms of who won this trade. And we still don't know who else is potentially going to the Sacramento A's in the deal.
That's what I was just going to say. There's 3 other pitchers.
I mean, is it Braden Nett? Is
it Boston Bateman?
Cash Mayfield? I mean, who are these guys? Are they top pitchers? Are they just, throw in minor league guys as well? Is it any bullpen guys from the Padres bullpen right now that they are giving up? We don't know if they're necessarily major or minor league players as well. We just heard that 3 pitchers are also included in the deal. Seems like a giant price tag for Mason Miller.
I tend to agree. That it is that's kind of a big one. That's a big one. So God bless, man. It's so weird. This is always the weirdest time of year too, because I am like extremely fired up to watch Mason Miller in a Padres uniform.
You're gonna love Mason Miller. Padres fans, you're gonna love Mason Miller.
I am elated to see Mason Miller. Wherever they decide to deploy him.
He'll be deployed in the ninth. If Robert Suarez is traded, as is the report, he will be deployed in the ninth. Now, you have already locked down every two blown saves by Robert Suarez. So you have locked down pretty much every ninth inning so far this year. I would imagine that will continue. But again, that doesn't improve your team. That just keeps you doing what you've already been doing, locking down the ninth inning. Now, it's a different story in the playoffs. You know, when it's coming down to it, and the Padres are in a division series against the Phillies, and it's Game 5, and you've got
Turner, Schwarber, and Harper.
Bryce Harper and Turner and Schwarber, they're coming up. You know, I'm definitely going to be happy to see Mason Miller in the game in that situation if the season is on the line in the postseason. And nothing against Robert Suarez, but give me Mason Miller, you know, in that spot every single time. And I've got to imagine that's part of the equation here for AJ Preller.
I think my general fandom edict for the first maybe 5 years of our show was, you know, prospects are cool, parades are cooler, right? And we've gotten fairly close a couple of times, but no cigar. But Leo changed it for me. That was one that I was like, all right, I'm gonna hug a little bit tighter based on what I saw with my own eyes, based on what I read, and based on the people that I talked to. I'm sure our fine folks over at Mad Friars are. I bet you David J I bet his hair's falling out right now, for sure. And for good reason. Leo was the guy that I said, okay, you look at this dude, that's your shortstop for the next 10 years. And you're good in a premium position. Now I'm sitting here reconciling, well, I mean, if AJ Preller has shown us one thing, he knows how to find shortstops, and he can find a shortstop, and he may convert him to a right fielder or a center fielder. He may trade them for an elite back of the bullpen guy, which he's just done. I know this one had to sting. I know it does. Is there anything in you guys' brain that says maybe he's not as high on Leodalis De Vries as everybody else is? I mean, that's always a potential possibility. But yeah, based on the numbers, what we've seen, what they ranked, all that stuff, what we've watched with our own eyes, Leodalis seems to be the real deal, and now he's going to be doing it in Sacramento and Las Vegas. Crazy.
No,
Crazy.
there are a lot of ways that this trade ends up being very successful for the Padres. First and foremost, if Mason Miller, you know, helps pitch him to a World Series title, you're not going to care about giving up Leodalis De Vries. If Mason Miller is successfully converted into a controllable starting pitcher who can be, you know, potentially an all-star caliber starter for the next 3 years, that's a really good return also. And let's be honest, and I saw someone in the chat just pointed out, yeah, AJ will just go out and find another young shortstop somewhere in, you know, somewhere in the world, South America, the Caribbean, you know, Dominican Republic. He will sign them, and we will have another Leodalis De Vries in a couple of years, because that's what AJ Preller tends to do. And, you know, maybe he will, maybe he won't. And, you know, maybe Leodalis De Vries is not, as you said, Woods, all that he is cracked up to be, and will not turn into the major league star that potentially it looks like he's going to be. But this is the new world order for the San Diego Padres. Welcome, Mason Miller.
Never a dull moment, ever a dull moment. Holy crap, dude.
All right, let's find a bat now. I mean, if they're going to be all in, got to get some offensive help. I mean, you've given up your biggest prospect that you've had in a long time for a great player, but you did not even address the main issue you had going into this trade deadline with your top prospects. And now you got to address it with other prospects. I wonder, is Ethan Salas also available? Does this mean that they're higher on Ethan Salas maybe than Leodalis De Vries still in the Padres organization?
And you know what's funny, dude? You know what's really, really funny? I'm thinking back over the years of people that I've talked to in the organization, you know, guys we know, right? Guys that we see at fantasy camp, Paulie, guys that we see at spring training and talk to. And I've gotten some pretty honest assessments on players before, that where, you know, maybe a guy in the organization will say, you know, they're a little bit too much hype. And you go, oh, crap, really? Okay, I had no idea. I thought differently. But I will say this. I've never heard that about Leo. Never once. I've never heard that juice isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? Like, it's always been.
Good point.
Hey, it's always been, and I don't want to name names, but I could probably rip off 10 names where I talked to somebody out at the facility that works for the team that was like, hey, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it even a little. Oh,
don't
okay.
don't read into it.
Yeah,
Like,
don't read into it. Don't sweat it
Yeah.
a little. That's a dude. Everybody I've asked, everybody I've talked to has said, "Oh yeah, Demon. Like he's fantastic. The guy's he's a dude." That's what they say. He's a dude. If you're just a guy, then you're just a guy. Oh, he's a guy. He's a guy. He's a player. He
You don't want to be a
but
guy. You want to be a dude.
You don't want to be a guy. You want to be a dude. And everybody I've talked to in that org was like, "Oh yeah, Leo's a dude." And I went, "Okay, sounds good. Look forward to seeing him at Petco Park in playing shortstop." But that is not going to be the case. He is going to be an athletic, one way or the other.
Now, if AJ,
that's a big one.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying we got fleeced. You can't. How could you give up De Vries and not get a controllable bat? We didn't need a controllable arm as much as we need a bat. Does it lessen the blow if AJ now fleeces another team and gets a bat?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy. Like, at face value right now, it's a head scratcher, I think, at best. Like, I'm with you. I'm so conflicted because Mason Miller is a freak, but man, you just gave up your biggest chip.
This is nuts. That's your biggest piece.
Looking at JP Sears, the other part of the return for the San Diego Padres, and mentioned, 7-9, 4.95 ERA. Looking at the game log, mostly consistently mediocre. Has a 4.44 ERA this month, which is a little bit lower than he had last month, which is 4.91. Had a really bad start against the Astros in May that turned that into a bad month, 9 runs. But you're going to get mostly 5 innings. 1, 2, 3, 4 runs from JP Sears most of the time. He's made pretty much every start, it looks like, throughout the season. So he's been durable this year. A very fun, very fungible 4th, 5th type guy in a starting rotation that probably will get some starts down the stretch, but you don't really want to necessarily see start a big playoff game for you in October. So if you do trade Dylan Cease now and Robert Suarez, again, have you gotten better? Have you gotten better? I also saw someone in the chat questioning how good Mason Miller was against lefties, dominant against righties, but split. I mean, he's still really, really good against everybody, but not quite as good against left-handed pitchers. I mean, his OPS 844. Yeah, it's not great against lefties. So, John Claude Van Dam says if it is Schwarber up there, you may want Adrian Morejon still pitching in that situation than you do Mason Miller. But against righties, he gives up a 395 OPS against right-handed batters. I mean, as almost untouchable as any pitcher in baseball is going to be on the mound in those situations. So
just got a text from somebody very, very entrenched in the industry. And this person said, "You better win the World Series after trading that kid." Holy crap. So that's something. That's something. Yeah, I think the Padres handled Mason Miller pretty well, didn't they, when we faced him? So, look, I think if 3 o'clock hits, Ben, and this is the only move we made, I think it's not a great trade deadline for the San Diego Padres. But we've still got hours to go, and that's a big one. That is a big one.
I am seeing an absolute total array of reaction. This one is crazy.
Let's beat all the other sports radio shows. To a poll.
I'm seeing this is awesome prospects or whatever. I'm seeing. Dale says fire AJ after this year.
You get it all.
Can't keep doing this. It's. And we still have 7 hours until the trade deadline.
Yeah,
6 getting close to now 6 hours to the trade deadline. Buster Olney now tweets the Padres have had extensive talks with the Red Sox about Jarren Duran. The Red Sox keep saying no, and the Guardians about Stephen Kwan. Some rival execs fully expect the Padres to land one of these two by the day's end. Well, obviously, they can't throw Leodalis De Vries into 2 trades.
Right.
So, they're going to – are they going to find a way to land one of those guys now without their top prospect anymore?
And, does this mean – does this make Salas more likely to be moved? You're we're really going all in? Or does that mean he's there's guaranteed no chance he gets moved now? I have no idea.
Got to pay to play, boys. You got to pay to play. And in our case, a lot of times I think you have to overpay.
Arguably, you now have the best right-handed and left-handed relievers in baseball at the moment in Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon.
And again, 4 years of control, and we'll find out. I'm assuming we'll talk to AJ Preller at some point, maybe tomorrow. That's usually been the deal. And we'll ask him, hey, what's the plan moving forward? If you convert Mason Miller back to a starter, which you've been able to do, and you have 4 years of control, that's a nice piece to have. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind.
The problem is, though, you have to get leads to protect leads. Yep. You can't protect the lead if you don't get that lead. So a bullpen, a dominant relief pitchers don't do you any good unless you're already ahead at the end of the game.
Well, okay.
And by the way, no relief pitcher is perfect. You could have a great rest of your season and have one bad day in the playoffs, and all of a sudden, if you go all in and it's all in to win the World Series, that guy could just have one bad pitch and it's all over. So it's very risky. It's very risky.
It is a risky move, and again, in a vacuum, if this is the only move, it doesn't look great. We didn't get better for trading our top prospect. We didn't get better really at all. You kind of stood pat. I mean, you added a really, really big arm and a back of the rotation guy, certainly, but you didn't get the impact bat you needed. But again, the trade deadline is not done right now. I wonder if you look at it like last year and what the Dodgers did with 2 starting pitchers and 7 elite demons in the bullpen deployed properly. That was their formula to win a World Series. But yeah, you're saying we have to score runs. We're right. I mean, we still have really good players in the top of our lineup, but there are moves that have to be made today.